Okay, sure. So thank you, Shashankar. So thank you so much. Hello, good morning all. So my name is Sudhakar Molaka. So actually, recently came to US, and previously I was in Bangalore almost for 10 years. I was in Bangalore. Before that, I was in Hyderabad. So coming to SAP, I'm into functional side from beginning. I have nearly almost 13 years of experience in SAP, whereas I worked on different kinds of projects like implementation, support, and rollout projects, and upgradation, and other SAP related function related stuff. And so I was mainly into SAP SD, that is sales and distribution. And apart from this, I was part of GTS implementation as well, and GTS support, and event management implementation for one of the one of the big client in SAP. So then I was part of S4 HANA implementation as well as upgradation also. So, I mean, anyone of you having any issues related to SAP, SD, or functional related, like you can get in touch with me, like, and I can try my best to give more inputs on that. Okay. So this is about myself. So anyone of you have any specific questions you can ask me before I start with the session. Any questions? Anyone of you? Hopefully everyone is having if anyone having SAP background, or if you don't have SAP background, then let me know, like, so that I can start accordingly.
Sudhakar
Hello,
sir,
Sudha.
hi, Andy. My name is Kumar. I
Okay.
don't have any experience in SAP, and I'm actually totally into software testing life cycle. I'm working with TCS as a program lead, but I'm
Yeah.
very much interested in learning this SAP. So how does this help for me?
Okay,
Being
fine.
I don't have any experience, right?
Yeah, so very good. So Margaret, thank you so much. So here, the people whoever wanted to get into SAP functional specifically, they don't require any knowledge. Okay, so any software knowledge, SAP knowledge is not required, because we are going to learn from here. So we're from very beginning. I'll be telling you like how to log in into system and how to enter username and password. Also, I'll be teaching you. But thing is, like, the logical thinking and your efforts, how we are going to learn the things, right? How we are going to grasp the things. That is very important here. Only logical thinking, and so everything we need to assume in business perspective how the client will use this functionality, because here we will be discussing one scenario. For example, I'm placing the order in Amazon, or I'm placing the order in apple.com. I want to buy iPhone 14. So what you'll do, like, we'll select a product. Okay, so we'll select iPhone 14, we'll select the color, we'll select the carrier, we'll select the credit or not, because we'll select the different options, right? The moment once we place the order, once we make the payment, so then we'll place the order. In background, the order will be transmitted into SAP. In SAP, they'll create the order and they'll make the delivery, they'll make the notifications to you, like, where it is exactly, and they'll send you the invoice copy to you. So these are not one type of business process they're following. Okay, so how you're going to use this business process in SAP, how you're going to configure this kind of business process in SAP, right? So if you're able to, like, whatever the concept you are discussing, if you're able to visualize the things in business prospects, so that is more than enough. So that's where, like, the concepts is very important here. If you're able to understand the concept, then you're done, like, so you'll become SAP consultant. And at the same time, so system application, uh, how you're going to use the application, and the command and the application, where is the setting, like, if you're able to practice more on that, that is more than enough. You don't have any experience, by anyway you have very good experience in testing sites, right? So as a SAP functional consultant, you'll be doing the development in the sense configuration part. So we are also we will be also, like, we are also kind of developers only, but we are not going to do any coding here, but we are going to customize the things according to the client requirement. Right, once customization is done, then you are responsible for our testing also. So your testing experience will work here. We'll do unit testing, we are responsible for integration testing, we are responsible for regression testing, we are responsible for performance testing. So all kind of testing we do when you're moving the changes to the production. So that's where, like, SAP might be new for you, but all the things whatever you have learned during this tenure, right? So testing, that will be like helpful for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. You cleared my doubt. Thank you so much.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. So so any other questions, anyone of you? So anyone of you
Hi,
knew for
Sudhakar garu.
Yeah, Swati, చెప్పండి.
Yeah, this is Swati. Just now I started uh, learning some technologies like testing, like SAP, like that. Just now, up to now, I am housewife.
Very
Just
good.
now I
Okay.
started. I want to do job. That's why I'm starting. Um, can you tell me like from first onwards clearly, like how to do? No coding is there, right, in SAP?
Yeah, so I'll come back to that, Andy. So I'll come back to that question. Like most of the people have that question. So definitely I'll clear that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So any addition to that? Like in any questions and addition to that?
No, no.
Hi, myself Murli, possibility. And I would like to know the opportunity rate for SAP SD in US.
Okay, very good. Okay, very good question. So yeah, so both like Swati's and yours. So I'll combine together and I'll give the answer for that. So first of all, like whoever new to software, like they did not like they did not work there anywhere. So they need more efforts. Definitely, like so at least like 3-4 hours of efforts in the sense like I'm not asking you to study. I'm not asking you to practice for 12 hours or 13 hours per day. So at least like 2-3 hours if you can spend per day, that is more than enough. As I said before, so we are going to work on functional side only. We are going to learn how to use the application for which business scenario, what are the configuration settings we need to do. So SAP is already developed a product. So almost all the solutions are already available. Most of the solution or most of the business scenarios already available in SAP. So only thing is how we are going to customize or how we are going to configure the things in SAP as per the client requirement. That's what we are going to learn during this 60 hours course. We'll be discussing about the different business scenarios. For example, I was telling like third party sales process, like third party sales process is on the kind of business scenario. For example, I'm placing the order iPhone in Amazon, not in AOS system, Apple online store. I'm placing the order in Amazon. Amazon will not manufacture the material, right? So they'll procure the material from external vendor who supplies the Apple products. So I'm placing the order in Amazon, but product is coming from different vendor. So I'm paying to Amazon. Amazon will pay to the vendor. How this business process can be configured in SAP, right? That's what this kind of scenarios we'll be discussing. Discussing in SAP perspective, so we'll be configuring that and we'll be testing that scenario how it is working. So these scenarios may get changes from client to client, company to company. For example, Shell using SAP. Shell business process completely different than Apple. So Shell business process completely different than Tata Motors. It's an automobile industry. So even Bank of America using SAP. So business process for the Bank of America is completely different than Apple, completely different than Shell, right? Airtel using SAP. So complete business process completely different than other industries, right? So like this, we'll be discussing about the different scenarios, which is relevant for different business, different verticals, right? So we'll be discussing each and every scenario here from from scratch to expert level. So which involves no coding here. So we never learn coding. Even I doesn't know about coding about in SAP. We use ABAP, but I don't know how to code that. So we'll be learning completely on functional side only. Is that okay, Swadhya? Like, do you have any questions in this?
No.
Yeah. So coming to
Sudhakar garu,
opportunities. Yeah. Yes.
one last question and so does it need any certifications cheyalantara certifications
So not required any. So usually if you are willing, definitely it will be good. Okay, but it's not required. So I have 13 years of experience, but I don't have any certification. But after coming 2 years, I'm just thinking it will be useful here or not. But in India, I did not find any difference. So, but if you have got very good commanding in subject and if you have very good experience, that doesn't matter. Like if you have certification or not.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. And coming to opportunities, right? Yeah. Asking something.
Yeah. ఇది అంటే లైక్ నా క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే ఇది చూస్ చేసుకున్నందుకు ఎట్లా ఉంటది సుధాకర్ గారు, లైక్ హౌస్ వైఫ్స్ కెన్ డూ ఇట్ ఆర్ ఇట్స్ వెరీ టఫ్ టు మేనేజ్?
లేదండి. సో ఇట్స్ ఐ కెనాట్ సే ఇట్ ఈస్ ఈజీ ఆర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వెరీ డిఫికల్ట్, బట్ ఓన్లీ థింగ్ ఈస్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ యువర్ ఎఫర్ట్స్. But when you're comparing with the other technologies, right? So when you're learning with the coding, other coding like in technologies, so it's a completely different. So functional side ante manaku so only we'll be concentrating how to use the application basically. So if you're able to think logically, if you're able to visualize the things in business perspective and how to implement that in SAP, that will be that can be done. It's not very difficult. It is not a rocket science, I can say. So definitely it will be useful for your career if you can put in our whatever efforts you can put on that. But at least 2-3 hours per day, it's more than enough. Remaining things you can work out. So I mean, it's not very difficult.
Thanks.
Yeah. Function. So because as I said before, we will be learning only functional things here, so not the technical things.
Sudhakar, I'm Pawan Putraj. What is the software we need? Can we deploy anything on our computers?
So basically, there will be two ways to have this software in a system. Okay, so we can install SAP directly in your laptop. So that is అది వచ్చేసి కొంచెం so difficult అనమాట. I mean say if you want to install in SAP in your laptop, we need to have at least 250 GB hard disk. At least we need to have 3 GB RAM, and we should not use any antivirus softwares, and we should not use internet in that. It's it is a bit complicated because when these antivirus runs in background, so it will delete some supporting files, right? So it is not recommended. So it will get corrupted very, very easily. It's a very sensitive software. So that is the reason what we can do is we can procure we can get the server access from external. We have many server providers. So monthly wise they'll charge where the server will be there in outside. For example, we have server in Hyderabad. We can access that server by paying 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees per month, something we can use that server. Only thing is we need to install the GUI, graphical user interface in our laptops, which will be hardly 700 MB it will take. So it will take 5 minutes to install. So they'll give server details to you. So we can use that server details, and we can connect to that server, and you can practice whenever you feel. If you have internet, whenever you want, you can practice. That is recommended.
So you will going through that during the course, isn't it? How do we approach
that? I'm not sure. I'll check with Shashankar regarding this, how we can manage the server access.
Sudhakar garu. Yeah, sorry, this is Mahesh here.
Yeah,
so do you have any recommendations for those servers, any popular?
Yeah, I have some contacts, and so definitely I'll help you on that. So
yeah, if you can share those links, that will be really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. So okay, I have some contacts. So they'll charge hardly 1,000 or 1,500, so they'll give 24/7 server access. We can access from here itself. Anytime we can access. That's not an issue.
Okay, yeah, I think that will be very useful for beginners who are trying to get into SAP.
Exactly.
Practice. Yeah. So yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah. So
Sudhakar, this is Sony here. So since you are saying that that there are these servers that are available, can we get a group account and do it so that everybody would get benefited instead of each one doing it?
Yeah, they're very intelligent, Sony. So they'll give one access per person, so other persons cannot be accessing, they cannot access at the same time. So it will only one person can access at a time.
I mean, especially if it is operating from India. I mean, people know that how our mindset is, right? So that makes sense.
What I'm saying is can we do
that
it
was a
through
very good
Atmiya,
point. That was a very good point.
Through Atmiya, we can get a group account if so many people are interested. We can just pool, and I mean we will still pay pool.
Yeah, I can check with them, Andy. So yeah, so we can ask them you can pay certain amount, if they can give group access, right? Dedicated server, you can get it. Yeah, so we can talk to them, not an issue. Because if the server is giving to everybody, what will happen is they'll be giving from outsiders also, right? So people will, whoever practicing, so they'll be deleting the standard data. It will become problem when you're practicing, right? So instead of that, we can get the dedicated server only for our group, so that you can pay certain amount and you can get the access. That's not an issue. Yeah.
Correct. I was just hoping that if there is an advantage of getting a group account, I would like to pursue that, right? So
definitely. Yeah, that is a good point actually. Yeah, thank you so much. So we can get it, not an issue, because they're business, they're doing business, and so we can get it. If we can convince them, we can talk to them, and we can get it done. Not an issue at all.
Okay. Sir, I just have one question. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
As in fresher opportunities in India, so how would be, sir? Because I'm having 3 years experience in different cybersecurity sites. So this is the first time I'm listening about SAP and how it configures. I've just joined this session. So how would be, sir?
Yeah, freshers, I cannot guarantee funny. Like, as I said, like getting uh, getting a job as a fresher, particularly in SAP, it's very difficult. So
Okay.
there will be 90% chances like will not be there until unless we have experience minimum like 2-3 years. So if you have 2-3 years, at least we'll get a calls. Otherwise, it's very difficult funny. Yeah, but so knowledge is divine, right? So we can learn
Yes,
the
yes,
things.
yes.
We can, uh, I mean, whatever the experience we have right now, right? So we can
Yeah,
convert that into SAP and we can try like if we getting good knowledge and all, right? So
yeah,
there are
definitely.
many ways.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks.
yeah. So any other questions here?
Yeah, I asked you like the opportunities in USA for SAP SD. So
Exactly.
how?
Yeah. Yeah. So that is very good question. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, if you take like topmost companies, almost 90% companies are using SAP. So they use SAP in their day-to-day business transactions. Okay, without SAP, they cannot run the business because they are more depending on SAP because it's very accurate compared to other ERP products. So even in the Russian also, okay, other technologies may get affected, but SAP will not get affected anytime. Maybe there will be impact, but compared to other technologies, it will be very, very less impacted because I got like very personal experience also because I get good jobs or good package when there is a Russian is going on. So no worries on that. So always there will be openings, okay, in SAP. So and in SA also we have very good market in SAP in functional side as well as technical side. Right?
Thank you, Andy. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So any other questions here? Yeah, Lalit garu cheppu.
I think you will anyways go through the course curriculum, right? How you want to structure the course and what is your
Exactly.
objective on. Yeah. I was about to, but I know you will be doing that.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So fine then. So I'm going to share my screen. So let's go through with the content today. So we'll see what are the topics we are going to cover, and we'll have small introduction about the topics, each and every topic. Then we'll have Q&A session. So after that we'll start with the application from tomorrow onwards. All right.
Sudhakar garu, can you also mention like the timings, like you said, like tomorrow too, like what are the hours that we are planning to do?
The same time, I believe. So I think Shashank has already published the same thing, right? So I think,
yeah, Sudhakar garu, the only thing is Saturday this time is good అండి. Sunday రోజు 11:30 కి ఆత్మీయ సెషన్స్ ఉంటాయండి, అంటే బెస్ట్ అండ్ ఫైర్ సెషన్స్. So we need to choose a different time and depending upon others availability as well.
Fine, sir. Like we'll discuss on that, like in offline,
Yeah.
Whatever the timing, right? So whatever the feasible time, like we'll discuss on that. Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Fine then. So before I just wanted to go through the content, like what are the topics we're going to discuss, and I mean we'll have small introduction about each and every concept, so that you'll have an idea what we are going to discuss in the future, right? So the first thing what we'll be discussing is SAP introduction. In SAP introduction, like what is SAP? What are the different versions we are using currently? So people who is working in SAP, they'll be knowing we are using ECC 6.0. In addition to that, like we have S4HANA into the market. It's okay. S4HANA is not the upgraded version for the SAP. It is it is a completely new product compared to SAP. So they have their own benefits. Okay, so when you're using the S4HANA, but here we'll be learning completely SAP SD or SAP functional modules. Okay, and SAP introduction will be discussing like SAP, how SAP has been derived, why SAP became very famous, and what are the different modules are available in SAP. What is technical modules available in SAP, and what are the different kinds of projects we'll be working. Like we have implementation project. So in implementation we have greenfield implementation. So when I say greenfield implementation, that is like where we'll be implementing SAP for the particular client from scratch. They might be using different software before. So coming to greenfield implementation, so we'll be implementing SAP completely new for them. Okay, so we'll be learning how to implement SAP for the particular client from scratch, right? So that also will be covering in this session. And we'll be discussing about the enhancement project. Enhancement project, that means like SAP might have implemented for them already, but they wanted to add some additional functionalities. So we'll be enhancing SAP for the particular client. So that will be called as the enhancement project and support project. So once implementation is done, they need to have like support. They need to have someone to handle their issues when whatever they are getting in production server, right? So that will be discussed in support project. So we'll have small introduction about SAP and what are the different versions are using here, right? So then we'll be discussing about the methodologies also. So what is the methodologies we use basically when you're implementing SAP for the particular client? So we have different methodologies that are available in the market, right? We might have heard about agile methodology, waterfall methodology. So we have here ASAP methodology in SAP implementation. SAP recommends to use the ASAP methodology. Okay, so what are the different steps and what are the different phases are available in the ASAP methodology, that also we'll be discussing in this. After that, like sales overview, basically we'll be concentrating mainly on the sales and distribution module, that is SD module, SAP SD module, like SAP sales and distribution module. Okay, so if you want to learn SAP sales and distribution module, first of all, like we need to know sales cycle, like how the sales cycle will happen. Sales cycle, like whenever you want to buy something. For example, I want to buy an apartment. What I'll do, I'll inquire about the nearly 10 companies. Okay, so once you inquire that about 10 companies, then we'll get the quotation from two. We request the quotation from 2 companies or 3 companies. From these 3 quotations, like we'll choose one. That means we'll choose one, we'll go for one, we'll place the order. That means if you start with the inquiry, then we'll have quotation, then we'll have the order. We're placing the order here. Once order is fulfilled, then we'll have the delivery. So in delivery, like, there will be delivery. In delivery, we have shipment process and everything involves here. Once delivery is complete, delivery process completes, then billing will involve here. So billing comes into the picture. So this is a sales process, right? This is a one typical sales process which you follow basically. How this sales process can be can be used in SAP. So what are the different different sales cycles or different sales scenarios we'll be discussing the sales overview session. So as I said before, like order to cash. So we have regular sales process, we have third party sales process, we have consignment process. We'll have overview here in sales this session. Then we'll be discussing about the enterprise structure. So when I say enterprise structure, we'll be assuming one company here. For example, I'm assuming Tata Motors or Tata Group. So in Tata Group, so we'll have different entities like Tata Motors, Tata Steel, TCS, Tata Sky, different entities will be there. So we'll be assuming one company and we'll be structuring the organizational units. We have different organizational units. We'll be structuring that organizational units. For example, let me show you one PPT here. So if you see here, this is a structure like I'm taking an example, Tata Group. So under Tata Group, we have Tata Steel, Tata Motors, and TCS. And they have operations in sales, they have operations in India as well as in Europe. Okay, so then they're selling their products through dealers as well as direct sales. And they have different divisions like bus division, truck division, Jeep division. They're like in commercial vehicles. So there'll be different kinds of divisions here, right? So same way here. Okay, the same, whatever the example we'll be discussing, the same structure we'll create in SAP also. Okay, we'll create our own plants also. Plant, they have plant in Jamshedpur, they have a plant in Pune. Okay, so, and we'll have shipping points. Shipping points are nothing but from where material will be shipped to the customers. Okay, so that is a point, where the particular product will be loaded into the trucks and it will be shipped to the customers. So we'll assume one company, like the structure of the company, the same structure will be defining in SAP. And we'll be creating the same kind of structure in SAP also. That is a basic thing. First, whenever we are doing the implementation, so we'll be getting these details from the client. So they'll give all the details. So we have head office in Mumbai, we have head office, branch office in Delhi, and they have operations across 4 or 5 companies, 4 or 5 countries. Okay, so they'll be dealing with the different currencies. And they'll have they have plans in Mumbai, they have plant in Pune, they have plant in Jamshedpur, they have plant in Chennai. So they'll give all these details when you're going for implementation, right? During our discussions itself, they'll give all these details, like these many shipping points we have, these many warehouses we have, these many distribution channels we have, these are the divisions we have. So we'll take all those so details from the client, and we'll structure it in paper, and then we'll go for implementation. So the same implementation, like whatever the structure we have, that will be finalized by the client. Then we'll go for implementation. So we'll create the same structure in SAP also. This is the first step we're going to learn in enterprise structure overview. In an enterprise structure, we'll be creating the individual organizational units. Okay, then we are going to assign each other. Okay, so that we'll be discussing in this. This completely will be discussing one scenario here, one structure here, and the same structure we'll do it in SAP with practicals. Then we'll be discussing about the master data. So master data is very important. So right, master data, without master data, we'll not be able to create the transactional data. When I say transactional data, so in SAP or any, if you take any in SAP, any transactional data. So when I say transactional data, creation of the orders, creation of the deliveries, creation of the billing documents, creation of the shipments, creation of the inquiries, creation of the quotations. So these are the transactions, right? If you want to run these transactions, master data is very important. When I say master data, so customer master data. Without customer, we cannot create the transactions. We cannot create the order. We cannot create the inquiry. We cannot create the delivery. We cannot create the billing document. So material master data. Without material, we cannot create the sales orders, right? We cannot create the deliveries. So whenever you're placing something, your number, customer number or customer name is very important, as well as material name. Without material, how can you place the order, right? That is also very important here. So in SAP, we are going to learn how to maintain the customer's master data. When I say customer's master data, nothing but customer's details. What is his name? What is what is his address? What is his phone number? What is his account number, account numbers? What is his mail IDs? What is fax numbers? All these details will be maintained as a customer master data, right? How many branches he has? What are the products he deals with? Which plant he is nearby? Okay, so all this, each and every point will be with respect to customer, will be maintaining the customer master data. We are going to learn so how to create a customer, how many types of customers, how to control the customer's master data. Everything will be learning in the customer master data session. Then we'll be discussing about the material master data. So material master data is details of the material, like what is the material name, what is the material description, what is the unit of measure, what is the weight of the material, what is the gross weight, what is the net weight, what is the tax classification, whether this material is relevant for tax or not, what is the cost of this material. Everything will be maintained in the material master data, because it's very important to fetch the details when you are getting the sales order, from where we are going to deliver, from what is the weight of the material, because weight is very important for the calculating the transportation cost, right? So all these details will be maintained in the material master data. So that's what we're going to learn here about the creation of material master data. Then condition master data. So condition master data is nothing but creation of the price for the material, right? So we'll be defining each and every material will be having its own price, right? Without price, you cannot deliver cannot sell the product to the customers, right? So custom pricing master data. So condition records nothing but maintaining the price for the material, or maintaining the discounts for the material. Discounts are not mandatory, but price is mandatory. The same way, so we'll have tax calculations also. So condition master data will maintain the tax calculations also. What is the tax you're going to charge for this material, for this customer, for this region, right? So this kind of pricing related things will be maintained in the condition record or condition master data. So it will be called as a condition records also. So it is a kind of master data. So in this master data session, we'll be learning how to create a customer master data, how to create a material master data, and how to maintain the condition records as well. And so last one is customer material information record. So that is optional, like we'll discuss during the session itself. If I can tell you now, you'll get confused. It's not very important, but we'll come to know, how to maintain this customer material information record. In higher end, it is customer specific information for the material. So for customer A, if we there is a material called M. So that specific information for this customer, for this material, there will be some information, or there will be some master data need to be maintained. Why this will be maintained, how this will be maintained, we will be discussing about in the session called customer material information record. Right? This is about the master data. Okay, so any industry, not only in SAP, if you take banking sector, master data is very important. If you want to deposit or if you want to withdraw money, so your master data is very important for the bankers. So they should have your name, account number, your Aadhaar card, PAN number as a master data, because they are depositing the money into your account. So your details here. So it will be maintained as your details will be maintained as a master data. So for any transactions, master data is very important, right? Then we'll be discussing about the complete cycle, how to execute this cycle in SAP. So as I said before, creation of the inquiry, creation of the quotations, creation of the order. So here, first we'll create the inquiry, then quotation will be created with reference to inquiry. Then we'll be creating order with reference to quotation. Then we'll be creating the delivery with reference to order. Then we'll be creating the billing document with reference to delivery. How to run this cycle, complete cycle in SAP. So by how to configure this complete cycle in SAP, that will be learning end-to-end process here. We'll see, like, when you're doing the delivery, there will be some accounting documents will be generated because we are delivering the goods to the customer. That means, so valuation of the stock will be getting reduced in your plant, right? We have like, $1,000 worth of products in our warehouse or in our plant. So we delivered like, almost $5,000. That means valuation of the stock is getting reduced here. That means it has to be updated in GL accounts, right? General ledger accounts. So how it will get updated? What are the GL accounts will get updated? That will be discussing in detail here also. At the same time, billing document, when you sell something, company will be getting the revenues from the customers. How these postings will happen in GL accounts, that will be discussing in detail here, right?
Sudhakar, can I interrupt?
Sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
So like the master data and the sales cycle, right? Like whatever you just mentioned, and like setting up the enterprise structure.
Yep.
So I mean, like it kind of like yes, like these are like a must for any business, like when you are especially having this transactional and especially having these orders and has to maintain the products. So but then so this SAP is already it's a tool using which like you are doing all of this, right? Yes. So what in my mind, like I'm just trying to figure out like what is, so once this is set up, like what is the new things like that you would be getting like day-to-day basis? Because like once you set up the customer master data, or maybe you would be entering like new customer information, but once you have all of this like data structures in place and the transactions also like inquiries and inquiry, right? Once that is all set up, like what are the additional things that like you would be handling day-to-day basis?
Exactly. So that is very good question, Andy. So here, once master data is set up, okay, sales cycle is done. So in coming to the production, so as a functional consultant, you will not have any role here. So whatever we discussed, so in master data and sales cycle, so it is end user work. So in future, if they wanted to have any additional things, okay, for example, in India, we have VAT introduced into the VAT has been introduced. Before, SAP was not supporting VAT. So for that, we need to do some enhancements. We need to have that as a mandatory, right? For that, we need to do the customization of existing SAP system, right? So for that, like, they need to have SAP consultants and they'll do analysis, how to configure or how to customize SAP according to the VAT requirements or GST requirements, right? Okay, exactly. So the same way, like, we'll be getting the different requirement for the client, from the client. So they wanted to have like, so every time business, what they'll do, they wanted to simplify the process. So instead of using the standard procedure, they wanted to have in an additional way. So they wanted to implement the crew, like, customer replacement units. They want to simplify that process in SAP. How, like, how to integrate with other systems. They'll have some user interfaces. They have some front-end systems. So we need to integrate SAP with the other systems to simplify the process. They want to use an app in their mobile. How this app will be integrated with the SAP system. What are the data will be coming to the SAP, whether SAP will support that data or not. So all these things will come to the picture. So these are very basic things we'll be learning here, but going forward, there are many things. So the business requirements will get changes every time. Okay, they want to simplify the process. They want to implement new functionality into their existing system. They want to, they want to extend their existing system to other countries. So when they are introducing new product, for example, I'll tell you, I was working for one client. Okay, so they don't want to disclose the prices into the market unless they go into the market. Okay, so they are going to launch the product in next month. So they don't want to disclose the prices till like whatever the prices maintain the condition required. That is a requirement. So basically what will happen is whenever we maintain the price in the condition master data, immediately it will be displayed to everybody. So it will, I mean, they're going to introduce the market, introduce the material in the next month only, but they don't want to display that price into SAP system, though they maintain the price in SAP. So it will be encrypted format. So that is the one requirement we got it. So what we'll do is like we'll do the analysis, we'll do the development. So once it is moved to production, so once the launch or they introduce the particular product in the market, then only the price will be visible to the all the customers. Right? This kind of requirement, like we'll be keep on getting the requirements from the clients, and we'll do the enhancement, and we'll do the upgradation work, and we'll have support issues. Like we'll get many things under that.
Got it. Thank you for explaining those.
Yeah. So it's a continuous process. Like so, we'll be keep on getting like it is like whatever we're discussing here very high level, but if we get into details in this, like we'll have a lot of scope to enhance the existing system. So SAP provides only like common solution, but according to the client requirement, we'll be customizing according to their requirement. During this customization, there might be doing some developments also. We'll be doing interfaces with the other systems. We'll be exporting the data. We'll be having reporting requirement. We'll have the workflow requirement. We'll have the interface requirements, right? So there will be a lot of enhancement also required here, right? So any other questions here?
No, thank you.
Yeah. So fine. So once we complete the sales document, sales cycle. Okay. So till this point, whatever we discuss. So basically in production, we don't do this. Okay. So it is not our duty to do because it is end user work. End users will be creating the orders. We as a consultant will not be creating the orders, right, for their business. So why will we create the shipping? Why will create the billing for them? No. So we'll be like, here in these 2 sessions, we'll be learning how to use SAP in this sales process. Okay. We are going to learn to how to use SAP. Okay. For the different transactions. Once we get the command here, then we'll get into configuration part. So real configuration part or real SAP consultant work will start from here. Okay. So here, if you see here, sales document structures. Okay, so different companies will follow the different sales processes, as I said before. So we'll be discussing like what are the sales scenarios they'll be using, and what are the settings behind that. What are the settings we need to make behind that to make work for the particular client, so for the particular business scenario. Okay, they'll be having the free of charge products. They'll be having the regular orders. They'll be having the express orders. They'll be having the rush orders. Okay, they'll be having the return orders. So for different scenarios, we'll have different documents. How to configure those documents according to their business process or their business requirement. So those things we'll be discussing here. So what are the different settings we need to know, and how to configure based on the based on the requirement. For example, I'm creating the regular order. So regular order in the sense like I'm creating the order, I'm creating the delivery, I'm creating the billing document. So now we have another document called express order or cash order or cash shells. So when the customer paying the cash, the product has to be delivered immediately because he's paying cash. Always cash customers will be having more priority. How to differentiate that? Okay, between the cash order and cash sales and non-normal order. So as a functional consultant, we'll be learning that. So these order, okay, so for these regular orders, delivery not to be immediately. It can be delivered later also. But cash customers or cash orders, we need to create the delivery immediately. So those kind of settings we'll be learning in detail here in the sales document structures. So what are the different settings we need to have for configuring the different sales scenarios that we'll be discussing in detail here about the sales documents and item categories and scheduling categories. What is the item category? What is scheduling category? We'll be discussing in the further sessions. And we'll be concentrating mainly on the sales order processes like cash sales and rush order. So cash sales, as I said before, it is when the customer paying cash, how the system will react. For regular orders, they want delivery will not be created automatically. But for cash shells, delivery need to be created automatically. But how the system will understand that whether it is a normal order or cash order, right? So normal order, it has to be it has to create delivery manually. Manually, we need to create the deliveries. But whereas cash shell system itself create the order delivery immediately. But how the system will understand that whether it is a normal order or cash shells? For cash shells, it has to be created with the automatic. There should be automatic delivery should happen. right? So coming to the rush order nothing but express orders. Okay, so there will be express deliveries. So for express deliveries, though he's paying later, but system need to generate the delivery immediately, only for rush orders. But how the system understand that? So this is the rush order or cash sales order. So that's what, like, we need to do the configurations. So for the rush order, okay, so only delivery need to be created automatically, or it has to be created immediately. For cash sales, if the customer is paying cash, then only we'll create the delivery immediately. Otherwise, we'll not create it. Right? For normal order, so though customer is not paying cash, or it's not a rush order, or it is not an emergency order, so we can create the delivery later. So that has to be done by the system. So that's what we are going to do the settings according to this scenario. We are going to learn. So what are the settings we need to have for rush order? What are the settings we need to have normal order? What are the settings we need to have for cash sales? Those things we'll be discussing in detail, and we'll be running each and every scenario. We'll create one cash sales scenario. We'll create one rush order scenario. We'll create regular order scenario also, and we'll see how system will react or how system will respond based on the scenario which you're running behind, right? So these are the special sales order process. Then we'll be discussing about the complaints. So in complaints, we have different scenarios like credit memo process, debit memo process, return orders, and free of charge subsequent orders, and invoice correction request. So these are the things which we'll be discussing in detail with the scenario. In SAP, we'll be executing each and every scenario, and we will see the results also. Coming to the credit memo process, when the company has to give the money back to the customers. For example, they return the product. So you buy something in Costco, so we'll return it after a few days. So they'll give your money back, right? So they'll give the credit memo also. They'll give one slip. That slip can be used any time after that. If you go Best Buy, they'll give slip. That is a credit memo. By taking that slip, so you'll buy anything in Best Buy again, right? So that is how that process will work in SAP. That we'll be discussing here. Debit memo process, when the customer is undercharged by mistake, I instead of charging him 10%, I charged him 90% discount. So in this case, customer is undercharged. So we'll need to collect the money from him. So in this case, we'll issue the debit memo. How the debit memo process will work in SAP, that we'll be discussing in detail with an example. We'll execute the scenario in SAP and we'll see the results, how debit memo looks like. Right? Then returns. So how the returns process will work. When you're getting the order, we'll get the order, then we'll get the delivery, and goods will happen to the customers. Then there will be billing document. But customer is returning the material back to the company again. So when you're delivering, stock will be delivered from plant or store location or warehouse. When you are getting returns, it is a damaged product or used product. We should not keep it in the regular products. How system will understand that? Okay, these are stock need to keep separately. This is a blocked stock. It should not be delivered to other customers. So we'll be discussing about that. And once we get the returns from the customers, we need to issue the credit memo for him for the returns, right? So that also we'll be discussing here. And free of charge subsequent deliveries. So we have created the order, we created the delivery, we created the billing document. Now, we did not like the product. We want to have the replacement. Previous case, we are discussing about the returns, but he's taking the money back. But in this case, we wanted to have the replacement. It can be same material or different material. For free of charge, we'll create the free of charge here because we already billed him for the previous products. So now he's looking for the replacement. So when you're doing the replacement, we'll call it as a free of charge subsequent orders. In this case, customer will not be charged anything because we already billed him in the when you're selling the product. So now he's looking for the replacement for the existing product. Right? How to configure that in SAP? That will be discussing in the free of charge subsequent deliveries or orders. Then we will be discussing about the invoice correction request, how the invoice can be corrected. So if there is any mistakes in invoice, how you're going to correct it. When there is a corrections, for example, we have 100 rupees we charge to the customers in the invoice, but we're supposed to charge only 80 rupees. That means he's overcharged 20 rupees. So 20 rupees will issue the credit memo to the customer. Right? So by correcting the existing invoice. If it is customer is undercharged, instead of charging him 150, I charged only 100. So $50 we need to charge him. So by issuing the debit memo, right? How the invoice correction request will work in SAP, that we'll be discussing here, and the correction process, everything we'll be discussing here. Then another business scenario here, consignment process. So most of the people might be knowing that what is consignment, right? So basically, coming to the business scenario in the consignment process, company will keep the stock at the customer places, right? For example, in India, if you see like newspapers, so what they'll do is newspaper manufacturer, what they'll do is like they'll keep the newspapers, 100 papers at the retailer shop. So whatever he sell, he can sell it out. Okay, so whatever leftover, like he'll take back whatever he sold, for that only he'll bill. Right? He'll keep, so in this case, company will keeping the stock at his place, okay, the customer's place. Okay, so though he's not selling, he's just keeping the sale product at the customer's place. Okay, so he will be billed only when he consumes the material. It can be for himself or resale purpose. Though stock at the customer's place, the ownership of the material still remains with the company only, because the sale did not happen here until unless he sold to the other customers. Right? How this process can be configured in SAP, that will be discussing in detail. So there are different steps involved here: consignment fill up, consignment issue, consignment returns, and consignment pickup. All right. So any questions here? Someone is asking a question. Please stop me in between, like if you're not able to follow me. Right. Then bill of material. So even these are like common terminology. So in short term, like we'll call it as a BOM, bill of materials. So what is BOM? Like there will be some materials, right? Like if you want to buy a computer, under computer we'll have like different sub items. Like in computer we'll have speakers, we'll have monitor, CPU separately. So when the customer will be buying as a computer, but computer will have different sub items also. Speakers, like webcam, then we'll have mouse, keyboard, and other things, right? These are all sub items. We are placing the order for computer. So computer consists of all these sub items. So whenever you're placing the order for computer, so it will be delivered along with the sub items. So how this can be configured in SAP, that will be discussing. So this concept will be calling as a bill of material. There will be different scenarios here also: header level item processing and sub item level processing. So here we'll be charging for the computer for 50,000 rupees. So this 50,000 rupees includes all the sub items, right? So how this can be configured in SAP, so that will be discussing with the configuration settings here. So I mean, whenever I place the order for computer, automatically CPU, monitor, keyboard, like other stuff, right? So it will be displayed automatically in the SAP system. Then coming to pricing is very important here, because it's a very important for every company. Pricing is very crucial, and it's a very important in SAP also. So how to configure pricing in SAP? So that will be discussing. So you need at least 5 days, 5 sessions, up to 3 to 5 sessions to complete this pricing concept, because pricing has to be determined automatically. It has to be determined automatically based on the client, based on the material. Okay, so iPhone 14 here it is like we'll get it for $1,000. The same material, if you want to buy it in India, okay, so I'll get it for like 1,49,000 or 45,000 rupees. So that means the price may get changed based on the country, based on the customer, based on the material. For end customer, it will be like it will be $1,000. If we go for Best Buy, they'll be getting it for $800. If I go with an employee, they'll be getting 15% discount, right? So the price may get changes based on the conditions. Okay, so but it has to be determined automatically based on the conditions. There should not be any manual interventions. Right price has to be charged for the right person. Right discount has to be determined for the right person, the right material. If I get if I get Toyota RAV4, I should get 5,000 discount. If I go for some other product like Honda CRV, so then I should get only 2,000 rupees. Okay, that means discount get changed based on the material, based on the customer, based on the country, based on the region. So based on based on the different conditions. The same way, taxes also. Tax may get differs, right, from state to state, country to country, from customer to customer, right? How this will happen automatically? How to configure that in SAP? That will be discussing everything in pricing. We'll take an example here. We'll configure that in SAP, and we'll understand the end-to-end scenario, how the pricing need to be configured in SAP. All right. Next thing is free goods. How the free goods will be handled in SAP. So if you take any products, right, you buy one get one products. So it will be free for the customer, not for the company. How this will impact our profit margin? So how we are going to consider this? How we are going to like if I buy A material, then only B material will be free. If I place the order for only B material, it will be charged. But system will should understand that. So B material is free only along with the A material. If I buy A material, 5 materials, then only I'll get the B material free. But original price of the B is like let's say 500. If I place the material B alone, it will be charged for $500. But if I buy along with the A, it will be free. So how to configure that? That will be discussing in detail in SAP. Right. So that is a concept called free goods. Here also we'll have different conditions here, like inclusive bonus quantity and exclusive bonus quantity. What is that? What is the story behind that? We'll be discussing during this session. Then we'll be discussing about the credit management. So credit management also very important here. So like selling the products on credit. So I'm getting a credit card here. Like I got a credit card from Chase Bank. So my credit limit is 5,000 rupees. The same product, you got it. So your credit limit will be $10,000. But how the system will understand that, how to assign the credit limit to the customers. So we can buy only certain limit. So I can buy any material up to $5,000 because I'm getting a credit. Okay. So what will happen when the customer exceeds his credit limit? Let's say the sale is happening beyond 5,000. So then how the system will respond immediately? So he's a VIP customer for me. It's a very important customer for me. Okay. So he exceeded his credit limit. How the system will understand that? So we need to control him, whether to deliver it or not. So automatically system should take a decision whether you want to block the order, whether you want to block the delivery, like whether you want to block the goods issue. So those conditions will be defining the credit management. So there are different types of credit checks we do in SAP. So they'll be discussing in detail here. Right. So we have simple credit check and we have automatic credit check. So in automatic, again, we have static credit check and dynamic credit check. That also will be discussing. Okay, so then the next topic will be discussing about partner determination. So partner determination, like, so there'll be different types of partners in SAP, or if you take any business. So like I'm placing the order. So the person, whoever placing the order will be called as a sold to party. But this material should be delivered to my brother. So he's like, he'll be called as a shipped party. The person whoever going to receive the material will be called as a shipped party in SAP terminology. The person whoever going to receive the bill will be called as a bill to party. The person whoever going to pay the bill will be called as a payer. So this kind of partner functions, how to define and how to configure that in SAP, that we'll be discussing in detail here. Okay, in the partner determination concept. Then material determination. So material determination, nothing but a swapping of the material in place of another material, or substituting of the material in place of another material. So I'm placing the order for one material, but they don't have stock. So they're replacing with the other material. So how this swapping will happen automatically in SAP, that we'll be discussing, and we'll be configuring that. And incompletion lag, like, if you're missing something to be entered in sales order, how the system will respond. Okay. So, I mean, whether we'll be able to proceed or not, or like it's just a warning, like, if you are not able to enter the value over there, still we'll be able to proceed further. So that we'll be discussing in the incompletion log. Revenue account determination. So revenue account determination, like whenever we sell something, okay, it has to be posted into particular, like, GL account, general ledger accounts. If it is a domestic sales, it has to be posted into one GL account. Sorry. If it is export sales, it has to be posted into different GL account. If it is a tax relevant amount, it has to be posted into different GL account. If it is a discounts or expenses, it has to be posted into different GL account. But how the system will understand that which GL account need to be posted for which transaction? So that will be discussing in the revenue account determination. Delivery. So what are the settings we need to have? What are the different kinds of deliveries we have? So there will be some deliveries with reference to purchase orders. There will be some deliveries with reference to orders. There will be different deliveries without reference to order. That means there is no order, but we are getting the delivery. So what are the different scenarios? We create the deliveries without order also. And there will be some stock transfers, like, we'll be transferring the stock from one plant to another plant, one store location to another store location, one warehouse to another warehouse. So what kind of deliveries, different kinds of deliveries we have, that will be discussing here. And coming to the billing documents, we'll have different kinds of billings also. We have like, regular invoice, we have like, credit memo invoice, we have like, debit memo invoice, okay, credit for returns. So there are different kinds of invoices are existing, and pro forma invoices. Okay, that will be discussing in details in billing documents topic. And route determination. So route is very important here. So in logistics, right? If you want to deliver the product to the customers, what are the different routes are available? What is the optimized route? System has to calculate that, and it has to be determined in SAP automatically. Whenever we get the order, system will propose this is a route which is recommended for this customer to deliver the particular material. So it has to be like, it has to become automatically. It has to be determined automatically into SAP system. Then we'll be discussing about the availability check and transfer of requirements. This is one of the very important topic which we need to understand here. So availability check. So whenever I'm placing the order, system will do the availability check, whether this material can be delivered on the customer request to delivery date or not. Okay, so system will check what is the warehouse stock. Whenever we get the order, system will check what is the available stock now in warehouse. Then we'll check what is the outgoing stock. Outgoing stock, nothing but is there any existing orders or existing deliveries need to be delivered to the customers. And it will check the incoming stock. So are we getting any stock from external vendors through procurements? So all these parameters it will consider, and then only it will confirm the order delivery to the customers. So then only you'll get the confirmation saying that so this material will be delivered by November 20th. So whenever you're placing the order in iPhone, so system will do the available check. Based on that available check only, we'll get the delivery date, right? So like November 20th or November 24th, we'll get the delivery. So how this date will be calculated? Based on the current stock, based on the outgoing stock, and based on the incoming stock. So based on all these calculations, we'll get the confirmed delivery date from the SAP system. Right? So that we'll be discussing here in available check and transfer of requirements. Third-party sales process, as we discussed before, like, I'm placing the order to the company. Company will procure the material from vendor. Vendor will deliver to you. Okay. Or vendor will deliver to me. I'll pay to the Amazon. Amazon will pay to the vendor. So this is a process. So how to configure that in SAP, that we'll be discussing here. And IPO, like, individual purchase order. It's a kind of third-party order only. But in this case, customer will be placing the order to the company. Company will procure the material from the external vendor. Vendor will be delivering to the company itself, not to the customer. So that means company will receive the material from the vendor. Then company will deliver to you. And I'll pay to the company. So here in third-party sales process, vendor is delivering the goods directly to the customer. But in this case, vendor delivering the goods directly to the company only, not to the customer. So that is called as individual purchase order that we'll be discussing here. Intercompany sales. So sales between the intercompany, sales between the companies. In the same group, under Tata Group, we have two companies like Tata Vehicles and Tata Motors. Just giving an example, Tata Vehicles. So they want to transfer the stock between these two companies. So that is called as intercompany sales process. How to configure that? It is not external sales. It's the intercompany sales. Within a company, sales will happen sometimes, right? So how to configure that? That will be discussing in detail in the intercompany sales process. Right? Output determination. So output determination, I think, but output is like, business documents, sending the business documents to the customers. For example, invoice is one type of business document. So whenever I place the order in Amazon, I'll get the invoice through mail. There is a communication they are using through PDF. They're sending the invoice copy to you. So that is the output. That is a business document. So these outputs may get changes based on the client to client. So Amazon will use a different format for the invoices. The same way, Apple will use a different format. So different companies will follow the different formats, right? So as a functional consultant, that is our responsibility to configure output determination based on the transactions. For orders, we need to send the invoices. For deliveries, we need to send the delivery notes. For orders, we need to send the order confirmations. So how the system will send automatically whenever we run this particular transaction, right? That we'll be discussing in the output determination. And what are the different communications we'll be using to deliver the output to the customers? We are sending through fax, we are sending through email, are we sending through printout? So are we sending through interfaces? So whatever, like, they are following, and whatever the request we got it from the client, that we will be working here. Okay, we'll be discussing here, right? Then copy controls. So there is a complete, SAP perspective. So as I said before, when you're creating the inquiry, we'll create the inquiry directly in SAP. Then we'll create the quotation with reference to inquiry. We'll create the order with reference to quotation. We'll create the delivery with reference to order. We'll create the billing document with reference to delivery, right? So how the data will be transmitted from one document to another document. What data need to be copied from one document to another document, that will be controlled through copy control. I'm creating the inquiry, and with reference to inquiry, I'm creating the quotation. Which data need to be copied into quotation from inquiry? So that will be controlled from here. Which data need to be copied from quotation to order? Which data need to be controlled from order to delivery? Which data need to be copied from delivery to billing? So those settings will be controlled from here in copy control settings. And stock transfer orders, so as I said before, transferring the stock from one place to another place, between the one warehouse to another warehouse. Okay, one plant to another plant, one store location to another store location. So that we'll be discussing here. It's a very, very important topic. So most of the companies will follow this scenario. So transferring the stock from one plant to another plant, or different plants, or different store locations, or different store warehouses. So that will be discussing in the stock transfer orders. And a very important thing here is variant configuration. So variant configuration is whenever I want to buy a car, or whenever I want to buy an iPhone, the moment once I enter the iPhone, so system will display different variants. You want to have the color specific, if I select the black color, the price will be same. Okay, if I select the gold color, so $100 extra. So based on the variance, the price may get changes. System automatically proposes these variants. So if I want to buy a car, system will ask for which wheels you want to go for. Okay, wheels are alloy wheels or normal wheels. If I select alloy wheels, 50,000 rupees extra. Braking system, if I want to go for ABS, 15,000 rupees extra. If I want to go for red color, then 8,000 rupees extra. Right? Based on the variance, the moment we select, the price may get changes. So how to configure that in SAP, we'll be discussing here. Then batch determination. Batches are very important, right? Each and every material will be having its own batch number. So why this batch numbers will be used? So it will be used to fetch the data in future also. Okay, for example, it has some defect. Okay, the particular batch number materials has some defect. So they'll go for recall. So they'll announce that particular ABC batch number vehicles, there is an issue with the motor or engine. So they need to recall that product. So once they get the materials, they can track the material, they can trace the material based on the batch number zone, right? Then LSNW. Okay, so this is one of the ABAP work basically, but functional side will be working here. So we creation of the I have 1 lakh customers in my company. For Apple, they'll have lakhs of customers. They cannot create the customer master data for each and every customer. So this is a tool. Okay, LSNW is a tool. Legacy system migration workbench is a tool where you can upload the multiple data at a time. So, and we can create the multiple customer master data at a time, or any kind of any kind of master data, transaction data in bulk. If you want to create, we can use the LSNW tool. Okay, so we can upload the customer numbers and other details. We can record and we can upload into SAP. System will create the customer master data or material master data or sales data automatically. So that is called the legacy system migration workbench. And we'll be discussing integration with the MM and FI, because whenever we do the sales, okay, we'll get the money from the customer. It has to be posted into GL accounts, right? This is SD and FI integration. So billing is a SD and FI integration. And getting the delivery, right? So goods will be delivered to the customers. So from where it will be delivered? From plant only it will be delivered, right? From plant or shipping point. So plant belongs to MM. So there is a MM related one. And even available check also. So MM and it is SD integration, available check and transfer of it. That is a SDM and FI, SD and FI, or SDMM and FI integration. So that anyway, that will be discussing later. What are the different integrations? Then you'll understand that in future. And technical topics like tables, ABAP tables, we need to, as a functional consultant, we should understand what are the tables we use in general in SAP SD. Okay. And IDOCs, it is intermediate documents. If you want to interface with other systems, like I want to send my data, invoice data to external system, then we'll have the IDOCs. So we'll send through IDOC. Okay, IDOC is a container of segments. Like it will be it contains segments. Each segment is a data container. Each segment will have a lot of data. Okay, so the data will be converted into IDOC. So then it will be sent to other systems. Like I want to send the delivery notification to my customer. We'll send through IDOC. Okay, so these are about the IDOCs. Like anyway, we'll be discussing in detail about the IDOCs process, and we'll have how the what type of issues we'll get and what are the problems we face in different stages of the product. That also we'll be discussing here in the real-time scenarios. So these are the main topics which we'll be discussing. Like if you have any topics to be added here, please let me know. If I'm comfortable, definitely I can add these topics in existing content. So totally it will take 60 hours to complete this training. So most probably we'll have weekends like Saturday, Sunday, so sessions here. Right? Any questions here? So I'm done with my content. So if you have any questions, you can ask me now. I'm open to have answer all your questions.
Do we need any Java programming knowledge for this?
No, it's a completely functional learning. So no Java, no .NET, nothing. So no experience is required. No software knowledge is not required. If you know how to use Facebook, that is more than enough here.
Oh.
Sudhakar, very well formulated, very good exhaustive list of topics. So very great to Sudhakar. I really appreciate your session.
Thank you so much.
You please share your contact details in future.
Definitely. Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Others, I'm open to answer all your questions. So I have still time. So if you have any questions, you can ask.
I mean, what is the plan? Can I know what is the plan of this course, sir, if you have a time now?
Yeah, definitely. Our plan is what I have discussed with the Shashank, right? So we want to have 2-hour session, and when on Saturday, Sunday. Saturday we'll have 2 hours, and Sunday we'll have 2 hours. So that is a plan as of now. So every week we'll have 4-hour session. So it will continue till the course completes.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So is this only functional, or are you trying to how to get use the SAP application kind of demos also you will be covered, or
yeah, so it includes both demo as well as practical sessions. So the way of explanation here is I'll take one example. So that's what I was discussing about the one cache shells process. We'll discuss about the how it works, what is the cache shells. Then we'll configure that cache shells process in SAP. I'll show you end-to-end scenario in SAP. We'll configure that and we'll test it also whether it is working properly or not.
Okay, but is there any way we can also do some hands-on? Means is SAP provides any kind of training version of the SAP, or?
Yeah, we have demo versions. We'll call it as IDS versions. It will be used only for the training purpose.
Okay, we can go on subscribe for that training from our end?
Yes, so we can do that. So that's what we are discussing in the beginning of this class, right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. We had some difficulties logging into the Zoom call.
No problem. It's okay. Yeah, that should be fine. So anyway, we'll discuss about that. We can subscribe, we can get the server access so that everybody can practice on that. Yeah.
So in which
thanks to that, it's very, very, very clear, and that shows your knowledge on SAP this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sudhakar, you are in which time zone?
I'm into CST. I'm in Austin currently.
Cool. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Dr. Garu, I have one more question. I also saw a reference to the certifications. So can you also explain what kind of certifications that are out there and how, while going through this training, how we can prepare for that?
Yeah, so basically, SAP, in SAP we have different certifications. So SAP, we need to write some exams for that. It will not be very difficult. So if we go through these sessions, right? So we'll, of course, we'll be able to clear it out. So we'll have SD, some training codes we have. So I'll share with you separately. We have sales side trainings, sales side certifications, SAP, SCM certifications. Okay, MM certifications. We have each and every module will have its own certification. then we can go out with that. Once we complete, we have like, some practical, we have some course content in that. We need to complete that course, and we need to go out with the certifications.
Sudhakar, do you have the material for SD certification?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I can give terms for that. I have that.
Sudhakar, by any chance, are you working for Apple at Austin?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I'm working for Apple client. Yeah, that's true.
Through Infosys, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I got it now. I got you. Srini here. Srini.
Thanks for remembering.
Yeah, I think I have your number. We'll touch base later.
Definitely, Srini. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So we are in touch with with you, right? Every day we are meeting. Yeah. So, others, any questions?
Yes, Sudhakar, I have a question actually. I'm a technical person. I'm also.
Yes. Yeah.
Any, opportunities wise, more opportunities on SD or technical area? How the US market?
Yeah, so basically, if you are a technical person, if you have functional knowledge, that is there will be a lot of opportunities. So basically, you'll be called as a SAP techno-functional consultant, right? So nowadays, people are looking mainly for techno-functional side, because functional consultant mainly depending on they'll have a lot of dependency on technical side, because if I stuck somewhere, I need to have technical assistance here. So if you know technically, definitely it will be you'll have more demand than functional side.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but you should have good knowledge in functional side also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sudhakar.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. You're asking something.
Yeah, this is for only weekend sessions.
Yeah. So this is only for weekend sessions. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions on certification? I hope I have cleared the certification question, right?
There's a question in our chat. They're asking, does anyone has Flora exam training materials?
Yeah, so I have my own certificate, SAP, material. I can provide that. So material which I have prepared and my own, right? So I can share it. So does anyone has SAP? Okay. Training materials like SAP SD training materials I have, not for Fury. Fine.
Yeah, if anyone does not have any other question.
Hi, Sudhakar. So, will you guys provide any opportunities like referring us,
That is anyway, it's happening, right? That is anyway, it is happening. Wherever there is an opportunity in our group, right? So the people are sharing that. I see that. Yeah, so definitely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we have a IT entrepreneurs group through Atmiya. So if you want to get marketed or if there are any questions, they're actually sharing .
Okay.
Fine. So I think I'm done. So Shanvik, you have Shashank, you have any questions? You want to share anything here?
Yeah, nothing, Sudhakar garu. Sudhakar garu, it's more than what we expected, and very thankful to you. This is a lot of help for the community,
Thank you, Andy. Thank you so much. So I believe, so I actually I came here thanks for adding me in the group. So it's a great boost up. I have seen so many initiatives taken from our community. So I thought I can do something from my side also. So that is the reason I came up and with the course content. At least I can give my efforts to grow in our group also. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, we're definitely looking. Yeah, we are definitely looking for people like you, Sudhakar, to come forward and do sessions like this and enrich our community.
Yeah, definitely. So even I used to do the same thing in when I was in India also. I'll be encouraging the people, like, mainly I don't know whether to mention or not. Like, I'm a big fan for Pawan Kalyan Garu, so I'll be following him always. Like, I'll be supporting the people, and I'll be helping them to, like, guiding them to get a job, and so mainly from our group, right? So definitely, so I'll feel like, it's my pleasure to be part of this.
Great, Sudhakar.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sudhakar Garu. Yeah.
It's a great session, Sudhakar, and great start, actually.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Everyone, I'll share the recorded session by evening. And tomorrow's session, we'll have it in the evening, Andy, if Sudhakar Garu is okay.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll plan that session. Like, so we'll have call. We'll discuss that.
Yeah, you let me know, Andy, then we can publish it by evening.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Sudhakar Garu. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.